What is up, everybody? On this episode of the Boston Ski Party, we are joined live in studio by Jonah Williams, who is stopping by Boston to show his new film, Who is Sim, as part of the Level 1 Fall Film Tour. The film just dropped on YouTube for free, so you should definitely go check that out.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You got to be at least close enough where someone else can
good.
by you. So
You're
you're
good.
almost still a little
You're
far.
fine.
I'll just get closer and closer as it goes on.
At the end, you're like sitting on his lap.
Hey, bro.
We're good homies here at Ski Monster.
It's great to meet you.
He just wants to get as close as possible to a pro skier.
Yeah, you guys need to come out to the level 1 party after this?
Yeah, I mean, I'd want to. It's in, where is it?
Somerville.
Oh, yeah.
No? I was mistaken, dude.
The ballroom or something?
The ballroom in
The
Somerville,
Crystal
right?
Ballroom.
Oh, it's in
The
Davis.
Crystal Ballroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been to a concert there. It's cool.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So-
At Somerville, yeah.
So hold on. So like before we really get into it, like I'm actually curious because when Berkowitz was like, hey, like Level 1's coming to Boston first week of October, and even I think Garrett might have said it first and was like, hey, like we should reach out, see who's gonna be here, like what movie it is, and then
Yep.
I was like, well, what movie is it? And they're like, oh, it's not really like a Level 1 movie. And I'm like, well, why are they coming to Boston? And then I kind of like did a little bit of research, so I'm kind of cued in, but like, what is it? Just all your guys' individual projects? Just explain it to me.
Yeah, pretty much. Level 1 has been, so they stopped doing feature-length films, like after their 20th year. So they did 20 full feature-length films. And since then, they've still made projects. Like they have like this Trevor Kennison project that maybe you've seen advertised. That's like been a multi-year project. It's more of like a Netflix documentary type style thing. But besides that, they've designated some people at Level 1 who've been acting as like agents for different athletes so that they help us get, some bigger sponsor dollars from our sponsors. And then we get to basically use them as an umbrella, put our project under the Level 1 umbrella.
Got it.
And they still run their premiere tour the same way that they would if they were doing a full movie. But we just get to show all our solar projects there. And so it's cool. And our projects go on their YouTube. So hopefully they're getting more views because their YouTube's bigger than like my personal YouTube would be.
So essentially, like you guys pool your projects together, and then under the Level 1 umbrella, they're like, okay, cool, well, let's promote everybody. Let's go on like a quote unquote movie tour, except like you guys are the feature, and we utilize like our marketing kind of machine to get you guys a little bit more exposure.
Yeah,
It's almost
exactly.
better, right?
Yeah, it is better. And also a lot of the people who have projects playing are already pretty big names, like Henrik and Noah Albadejo. Their project has been playing at all the premiere tour stops. Lucas Walk's pretty big name now. His has been playing the 4A movie. So they're like movies from all over the world too. And a lot of these guys and gals already have big audiences anyway. So it's not like they need it, but it's cool that Level 1's trying to do something where they're doing it for the ski community, really.
Right.
Well,
it's also cool too, because you guys probably have, obviously some crossover as far as like exposure to the people that are watching, but
For
sometimes
sure.
you don't.
Yeah.
Which that's probably pretty rad, right?
Yeah.
People that would be maybe watch Henrik's, edit or Henrik's project, but not yours. But now they're there, or you're kind of like grouped together, and that obviously is helpful.
Yeah, it is. It is, and it's cool. And it's cool for all of us to be able to intermingle, when some of those like Scandinavian or Euro groups are coming over here for some of the premiere stops and get to hang out with the U.S. crowd. And it's good. That's what's cool about the ski community is you have these connections all over the world and the country. And it's cool. The premiere tour brings them all together.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
sick.
dope.
I mean, you should have seen Henrik hyping up the crowd in Bozeman. The whole crowd in Bozeman, it's all these Bozeman college kids. And they're like, what is Henrik doing in Montana? It was sick. It was so sick.
So what stop is this for you guys?
This is, so I didn't do the 2 Midwest stops, but I think this is my number 7.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Jeez, dude.
I've done a bunch, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I did, so there was, our first show was 2 nights in Denver, so it was Denver and then Bozeman, Salt Lake, Bend, Seattle, and I drove to all of those. And then from Seattle, I flew to France for High Five, which was awesome. And then I flew back from there yesterday for our New York show. And then up here, Boston tonight, Burlington tomorrow.
Jeez,
Holy
dude.
cow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's been a crazy 3 weeks. But it's like the first time that I've...
right there. Holy crap.
Yeah. Oh, man. It's been wild.
Whereabouts in France were you?
Annecy.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I flew into Geneva in Switzerland, and it's like a 2-hour bus ride into Annecy. So that was great. Got to show the movie there and be a part of that whole scene because it's a huge event over there.
Out of all the events so far, what's been the hypest stop, you think?
Well, High Five is like its it's like its whole own thing, you know. It's a huge festival essentially. So it's kind of different. Like that would be probably the highlight, but the whole level 1 tour is kind of under a different category, I think. And so as far as the level 1 category, I'd say Bozeman or Seattle were the two best so far. Surprisingly, the crowd in Seattle was amazing. They were just like really, really hyped. Everyone was super attentive to the movies and also cheering. It was cool. Bozeman was like hype the whole time, which was really cool too.
It never plateaued. It just like kept going up and up and up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially when you have Hendrick out there on the stage.
Oh,
and
yeah.
for like 15 minutes. Yeah. Dude, it's crazy. Hendrick gets after it. It's pretty fun.
The TGR, when TGR does theirs, I mean, Boston's always been a stop for TGR, and they always, put on an awesome show here. And I'm not sure if it's true anymore, just because of how ski movies are, or people going to events, or I'm not really sure. But I knew in the past when we were like a sponsor of that event in Boston, they said that it was their biggest turnout.
Wow.
Boston was, yeah,
crazy,
yeah. And I mean, the venue that they would do it at would be completely full. And every year we would go, I would honestly be shocked how many people were actually there.
Wow. I wonder how do you know the capacity? How many people?
House of Blues.
House of Blues, yeah. House of Blues in
it's
Fenway.
It's a pretty big spot.
It's big, yeah.
A few hundred.
It's big enough to have some big name like concerts roll through, but it's not like
I saw Dead Mouse there.
huge. Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
that's sick.
No big deal.
They got good acoustics.
No big deal.
Big claim.
Name drop Dead Mouse. But no, but it's a dope spot. And again, like I was always the first year when the guy that was coming in that we're kind of partnered with, he's like, dude, there's a lot of people that show up, and I'm like, okay, you're always skeptical a little bit. You're like, all right. And then you show up and you're like, damn, dude, this is like a huge crowd for a ski movie premiere. It was awesome.
That's crazy in Boston.
Yeah.
So cool.
Boston people have too much time on their hands, I think is what's going on.
You think so? Yeah. I was surprised New York was like that too. I mean, the crowd was great in New York. It was fun. Not super huge show. I think tonight.
Where was the venue?
It was in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Yeah. Music Hall of Williamsburg.
Okay.
I've never.
Yeah.
Dude, I was telling Jonah before he came in, Owen and Nick were there. Those were my roommates from college.
Yep.
Owen won skis.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
He won the Rosignol skis that I ride on.
Yeah.
And I saw him walking out. I saw whoever the homie was.
Dude, how random is that?
Sure, it was him.
Shout out Owen, dude.
Yeah. Hope you like the skis, Owen.
He's stoked on him.
How
I bet.
did he win? Well, like, what was the contest?
I don't know. How
Was
did he
it
win?
just he probably won them just in the raffle.
Like a draw?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, he's got the luckiest fucking set of nuts, dude.
Oh yeah. Is he already? Yeah. If he's one of those people, then for sure it was the raffle, and
Yeah,
he
no,
just had it coming. Karma brought it to him.
He just gets lucky, and he texts me. He's like, "Yo, I got the new Center Free 110s," and I was like, "How'd you get those?"
Like, why didn't you buy them from me?
Well, yeah, that was my first thing. But he's like, "Now I need to get bindings and boots." And I was like, okay,
Oh, so you'll make a sale
yeah,
still?
we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make the homie sale.
But he was hype.
Dude, so but before we started recording, I said this to you, but I think we got to put on record because it's kind of funny. So you guys have been driving around, and like you said, you've been like in cities, Airbnbs, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You're staying at someone's family's place,
Mm-hmm.
and then when you texted me, you're like, "Hey, I'm actually at this spot. I'm heading in," and I'm like, "You can't be you can't be in Sturbridge, like off the Mass Pike," and you're like, "Yeah, I think it's right near Sturbridge." So the fact that you guys are legitimately like commuting to Sturbridge and back to the event is wild. I mean, it's like an hour and a half away.
Yeah, I mean, to you out here,
To
living
me,
here,
it's funny,
that
'cause I'm
sounds
like,
like
where are you
super
staying?
far.
Right.
But to me, like where I live in Salt Lake, any given sled day when I'm going out to film, I'm driving 3 hours to the trailhead in the morning. That's like super common. So an hour and a half is no big deal. That's like a pretty short commute in my
I know
mind.
it was just kind of funny because I'm like, well, the event is in Somerville.
Wait,
Yeah.
you're staying in Sturbridge, Mass?
Yeah.
I don't. Is that the name of the Big Alum Pond?
Yeah.
Shout out Big Alum.
Yeah, it is. It's
Yeah.
exactly where it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh
Yeah.
shit. Okay.
That's the
Yeah.
spot. Yeah.
Pretty far away.
I know.
Yeah. For me, I'm like hour and a half.
When he said it
No.
to me, and via text, and I'm like, that can't be the same.
Well, we weren't just leaving then. We were like probably, I don't know, over halfway here by then. But yeah, that's where we were coming from.
I used to clean windows on that pond.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like a couple bigger houses.
Oh yeah. You know the spot.
Yeah. So when you said I knew it, I was like, I've cleaned windows and gutters on that pond.
You're like,
Exactly
what are you
where
doing
that
out
is.
there?
It's pretty this time.
Exactly.
Yeah, all
where
your
that
states
is.
are so small out here. You guys are like, you got to be careful. You drive more than an hour and you're somewhere else.
Somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's true. So what's driving around like? I mean, because you guys are all together. Like, how is that transportation working? Like, what is that like? Are you guys in one van?
Well, typically it's just been like the level 1 staff who are setting up the premieres. It's just been, I think it's been 3 and or 4 of them for all of the West stops so far. These East Coast stops are the only ones where there have been more of us with them. Like Harold from Finland is here playing the 4A movie, and it's me. And Reno is a DJ from New York, and they're with us too. So all the West stops, it's just been like 3 or 4 of them in a van. And I've been driving around my own rig separate because I had my dog with me and I got a bed in the car. And so I've been like mountain biking all these different places and treating it like a road trip.
Oh.
Yeah, so the East Coast stops have been the only ones where we're like packed in the van, you know, going spot to spot.
Interesting.
But we're all-
What kind of dog do you have?
I got a golden doodle.
Oh, nice.
Yep, the doodle
Hyperallergenic.
movement.
Is that what I was thinking?
Yeah,
Yeah, I like
Yep.
it. I like it.
Shed, dude.
Yeah, shout out Ducky.
Ducky?
That's her name.
Ducky.
Little duck
That's
duck. She's the best. I wish she was here. I miss her.
How old is she?
She is almost 3.
Oh, she's a pup.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah, she's cute. I'll show you a picture. if
Yeah,
you
let's see
want.
her.
Yeah, I got all sorts of photos.
I don't personally have a dog right now because I live here, but I bought a dog for my parents, which they weren't super happy about at first.
Oh,
So it was like a friend of a friend had like puppies, like black lab puppies.
uh-huh.
And so I'm like, well, I can't miss this opportunity to snag up a pup, you know? So
Yeah.
I
Oh,
went, I
man.
was like, I want the runt, I want the female runt. And they're like, usually like people come in, they're like, I want the biggest boy. Yeah, give me that. And I'm like, no. I want the female runt pup. And they're like, okay.
That's a good way to go usually.
And so
You're gonna have
I-
a good calm temperament.
Yeah. So I scooped her up. Her name is Sadie. She's incredible.
What kind of dog is this?
Black lab.
Oh yeah, okay.
And I got to my parents' house and I was like, had the pup, you know, and my dad's like, oh my, he's like, you and Jillian, you guys got a dog? And I'm like, no. He's like, where did you get that thing? I'm like, I bought it, but it's for you, you know? And he's like, the fuck out of here. You know, I'm like, no, like this is for you, Pop's like, you know, you guys, you and Mom, like, you guys need a pup. You know what I mean? And he's like, I'm not taking care of that thing.
Oh man.
And literally, so like, I set up the crate. And I was like, and he's like, "Are you seriously leaving the dog here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I am." And you know, that was 5-6 years ago. You know,
Wow.
now she like runs the roost. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
now
She's
Sadie's probably their
she's the
best
queen.
bud. Right?
Yeah. But what the funny part about it though is that she stayed in Boston with me for a few nights before I took her back to Western Mass.
Oh, yeah.
So I had her set up in my apartment, and like I was the one that took her from her mom, the whole thing. So like when she sees, even now, even to this day, like she's like, oh, like that's my dog, like that's my guy.
For sure.
So
yeah.
so I have a place up in New Hampshire that my parents and I always meet and spend time together. So like she comes up to the cabin in New Hampshire, and literally like it's like my dad doesn't. He's like he's like what. He's like, I take care of this dog, you know, pay,
Wow.
you know, and then I show up and she's like, no, like,
Chopped
Bart,
liver,
like you
bro.
gone, like, yeah, like Eric, like I'm Eric's dog now, you know. And he's like, this is so. He gets so mad and jealous about it. It's kind of worth it.
Yeah.
Dogs being
Does
dogs.
that ever
Awesome.
make you feel like you should have just kept her from the beginning for yourself?
Yeah, but I could. I mean, I couldn't. Like where I live, like what the apartment was like, and then you know, just with both my wife and I's like work schedule, it wouldn't have been fair for the dog.
I think
Yeah.
you should get
To
a
be honest
dog.
with you. And my
Yeah,
here's
just
my
hearing
guy,
you
it's
talk about it,
my
I'm like, yeah,
parents,
you
my
should get a
parents
dog for
needed
sure.
my
Right
parents
now.
needed the dog. Like they didn't know they needed the dog. So
Yeah.
You
That's
need
how it is for all of us. We don't know we need a dog, and then you have one, and you're like, okay, how
Yeah.
could I live without this little thing?
And
now I get to
maybe
see
that's
her
what
all the time
you
to see.
need.
This is Ducky.
let's see.
This is
Oh,
Ducky in the
shit.
truck,
Oh,
cute,
sick, dude.
just living the
Oh,
life,
she's a gorgeous little.
feeling
pup.
the wind here.
Is she driving?
For all you listeners out here, yeah, Duck's driving. I have a right-hand drive imported Japanese truck.
Oh, no way.
So that's what Ducky's riding. in, yeah.
That's sick.
I got another one or two here real quick.
Where'd you get the name Ducky?
I just thought about it when I was laying in bed one night. It's from The Land Before Time.
Yeah, of
Remember
course.
that character?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Great
Littlefoot's homie, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I have a college
little
roommate,
dog.
an old college roommate that looks like
Dude, she's
Littlefoot.
gorgeous.
She's gorgeous. She's so pretty.
Oh, she's gorgeous. Yeah.
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 Oh yeah.
He's probably listening right now.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, Eric's
my
college
best
roommate
little
looks
buddy.
just like Littlefoot. Dude.
Yeah, Horton.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, his head.
No
Yeah,
way.
dude, so good.
Not the dog, a person.
The person, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So
He's gonna listen to this and be like, "Fucking Durham, dude, such a kid." It's true though.
So good.
Do you ever take her like skiing at all? Like
She's no, I don't usually take her skiing. Usually when I'm going backcountry skiing, I'm like going with a crew or I'm snowmobiling. We're doing some sort of filming.
True.
thing. I've taken her on casual walks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually I save it, for the skiing.
Yeah.
Leave her at home, take her to do something after or beforehand.
makes sense. I'm sure you're not doing anything mellow when you're out there in the backcountry. You know what I mean?
Some days you have mellow
Yeah.
days for sure, but like a mellow day for you would be a huge day for a dog usually, because if they're like post holing through,
Right.
a foot or two of fresh powder, it's no big deal if you're on your skins to go a mile out and a mile back for a
Yeah.
dog. That's a pretty big trek.
Yeah,
That's
he's
a big
awesome.
Trek for me.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, you'd be no. On your skins, it's mellow. It's just like a casual hike. You're not hiking anything steep. Then it gets crazy.
I think I'm more of a chairlift guy.
Chairlifts are nice. Those are nice. I appreciate those for sure. You got a couple of those out here.
Oh
Where
yeah.
do you guys all ski at?
we ski. Honestly, we ski a lot at Sunapee,
Okay.
just because it's on the Epic Pass.
Yeah.
And
How
it's-
far of a
It's
drive
only
is
an hour
that?
and a half away.
It's an hour and a half, hour 40. Yeah.
That's a huge drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's close. So we ski a lot at Sunapee for like testing skis because it's easy to like load up, do it for the day, come back. You don't really think about it. But then after that, it's kind of all over. Sugarbush, Stowe, Loon.
Killington.
The Finns ski a lot at Loon, which we should put on record because Garrett will be upset with me. I said it to him before we started recording, but Garrett's younger brother, Shaq Finn, and him, they coach together at Wendell's.
Oh, no shit, huh?
Yeah.
That's dope. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So you know Shaq.
Yeah. So you've met Shaq. He comes in here, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out Shaq Finn.
Yeah, Shaq's the boy.
Yeah.
Good
that's
dude.
what's up.
So they grew up skiing at Loon.
Loon looks fun. Never been there. Yeah, seen a lot of videos.
For East Coast Mountain is awesome, and like
sick.
their park setup, their free is pretty legit.
They like filter or they grow a bunch of ridiculous good skiers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems that way.
Shaq, is when he goes there. I mean, he's by far the best. Shout out Shaq again. But there's a crew up there that are just like good. Yeah.
Wait till
Yeah.
Garrett hears that.
I know.
I mean, Garrett knows it's true. Garrett's a great
Oh,
skier
he's gonna
too.
be
But
upset.
No, he'll be okay.
there's only one Shaq. Yeah.
He'll be okay. He'll be
Yeah.
okay. He knows.
It's gonna be a bit of
He
a,
can look in the mirror. Garrett can look in the mirror.
it's gonna be an intervention. Listen.
It's all
I know.
good. But you to get back on track here. So like one thing I'm curious about is like you obviously won Super Unknown in 2015. I and maybe you could just kind of walk us through that. So how does it all kind of work? Like you do your own edit, you send it in. Is that how? And then they like filter out everyone's edit, and then they say, okay, come to whatever the location may be at the time, and then we'll do it live, and you kind of throw down, and we'll pick a winner. I mean, and how many entrants are there? I mean, there's got to be so many. Like, what's the process like?
There's a lot of entrants. Yeah, it's grown a lot even since I did it. I mean, 2015 was like
Yeah,
8 years ago
I
now,
know.
which is crazy.
Different world too.
It's so crazy. Yeah, so I don't know how many entries there were when I did it, but anyway, there's at least several hundred. I think there's even into the thousands now every
I
year that
would
apply
think,
from
yeah.
around the world too. It's more of a global thing than it was when I did it. But yeah, so there'll be like however many hundred entries, and then level 1 will have like a crew of staff and then also like some seasoned professionals who will help judge and watch all these videos and decide on like the semifinalists and then the finalists. And for example, at least how it was back in the day, now they're bringing on a few more. But when I did it, it was like they picked 10 finalists, and those 10 finalists fly out to a location where you get to participate in like a classic professional park shoot.
Okay.
And so you show up with 9 others, and you basically just get to go out into this resort area and work with the park crew and with the cat drivers to help design features
Oh,
that
cool.
you guys, so you all are like deciding on what features you want to ski, making decisions based on that, providing some input, helping the people like push the actual features. You're like digging with your hand with these shovels and rakes and stuff. So you're really hands-on process.
So they're
And
kind of like simulating what it would be like to work like on a movie shoot.
yeah,
Like, hey,
yeah.
this is what you're going to be doing. You're going to
Yeah.
be skiing, obviously,
They're-
but you're going to be out here like
yeah.
like digging trenches.
It's they're putting you through the exact same experience
Got
as
it.
what the pros go through when they go on a private park shoot. So part of it is like seeing how everyone fares. I mean, it's an amazing experience for any youth who's a part of that or anyone at all. It's like really eye-opening, you know, and you're all hungry and young. And so you're like trying to put your best foot forward. And so that's cool. And everyone's respecting each other anyway. So when I did it, it was like all these homies, we became super good friends throughout the week. And then actually at the end of the week, so you get to put in all this input on these features, help build the features, and then you ski the features every day. And we were doing like 2 a day, which is pretty big to build and hit 2 features a day.
Yeah.
That's like what we were averaging. And then at the end of the week, actually all the riders vote on who they think deserves the winning title, which is sick.
Oh.
Yeah. And so when I did it, I think the staff that's there, the camera crew and the filmers, they will also vote, but they only use the athletes' vote. Unless there's a tie, then they'll bring in the staff's vote.
Okay.
So when I did it, it was just the athletes' vote that they used, which is pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
It's so cool. It's a really cool thing. So it just like brings the camaraderie level even higher.
Yeah, there's
It's
no
really
there's no
sick.
bad blood. Really, there's really no room for bad blood if like everyone's voting, and it's all like the guys
Yeah.
you're with for like the X amount of time. You're like, you know, that bro deserves to win.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, so you're extra honored if you win, you
Yeah,
know? Because
it's
you're like,
cool.
oh my
Totally.
gosh, you guys all really think that I should win this out of
Yeah.
all of you, you
That's
know?
super
And I'm
cool.
like voting for my homies, you know?
Right.
And then to find out that they all voted for me, it's like, what? It's so sick.
That's cool.
And so what a cool way to start a career in skiing, you know?
Yeah.
To start with that level of respect among your peers.
Yeah, dude, that's pretty high bar,
it's
bro.
so sick. Yeah.
It
But that,
legitimizes it for sure.
Yeah,
Like your
it
peers
totally
vote
does.
for you, and it's legit. I mean, you can't vote for yourself, right? You do
you,
that?
I mean, maybe people have done that to be funny, but no, I don't even
AP
like
would 100%
Yeah.
vote for himself.
no.
everyone for sure jokes about that, but when it comes down to it, everyone takes it pretty serious as you would.
Right.
You're like, okay, no, I really want like, you know, my buddy to win. Or even if you think you deserve to win, you know, you're still going to vote for your buddy.
Of course.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
sick.
And
And
why
that's
not?
that's cool. That's like a good example of how the ski community is in general. It's like that, you know. Everyone's got each other's back when it comes down to it. That's what's so cool. And that's why I love doing these premiere tours, because I'm seeing all these friends from back in the day who I used to compete with and meeting a bunch of, you know, new up and coming shredders, and it's just cool. Keep the camaraderie alive. Show your face.
Well, yeah, that
part
and
of
like,
it.
you know, the hype around each event, you know, and when you're there and you see the excitement of people there and you're like, holy crap, like, yeah, this is fun. Like, this is really cool. All these people showed out to see all of our individual projects, and like, there's a big crowd. Like that's got to feel good.
It's amazing.
Feel
Yeah.
really good. So after that, so your peers vote, it's cool. 2015, you're like, holy shit, I'm honored, I won. Then what happens? Essentially, level one's like, okay, so now next year we're gonna shoot here, here, and here, and then we're gonna have you in X segment, or do you kind of pick your spot? How does it work after that?
Yeah, you're basically, I mean, depending on what type of skier you are, they'll invite you on trips that work with that type of skier you are. Like I wanted to transition to being a backcountry skier even at that point, but I didn't have much experience there. Also didn't have a snowmobile. And so I had asked to get invited on a backcountry trip, but that wasn't happening for understandable reasons. I mean, you
totally.
got to have experience to go on those trips.
Right.
You got to kind of earn your stripes first. And for me, I had to sort of earn my stripes in the streets. I was more of a park skier and a slope style comp skier at the time.
Right.
So I got invited on street trips or like park shoot trips. And so that's how it started. Yeah. With level one. And for a while I branched off from level one. Like that first year I filmed with them afterwards, but it was a little bit expensive for me because sometimes athletes will have to pay their way or most of the time. And I didn't have any sponsor dollars coming in at the moment. So I was paying all, you know, for my travel out of pocket from like a ski shop job.
Yeah.
And it just was tough for me. And I was trying to get sponsor dollars and just got a little frustrated with the whole process of how
that can
expensive
be
it
pretty
is. 'Cause it was,
taxing, man.
Yeah.
Like you're like, I'm working, but I'm also trying to do this ski thing, and it's like you
Yeah.
can do it, but like it's gonna be like $3,000. You're like, fuck.
I know.
It's brutal.
When you're
Spend
young
for
and you're not
this.
making much money, you're just like scraping by to pay rent, and you have this great opportunity that you want to make happen because you want to partner level one movie. but it's like costing you like twice as much money as you've ever made in a winter. You're like, man, how do I do this?
Yeah.
So then you're like getting credit cards and you're just like fully racking those up all the
you're like,
way.
it's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
It's going to be worth it.
Yeah. And it is, you know,
Yeah.
you got
I'm
to
going to call the bank and show them my YouTube edit, and they're going to be like,
Yeah.
yo, it's sick.
Yeah.
Gosh, we got you.
Worth it.
You don't need a credit application.
Yeah.
Just keep sending those YouTube videos over.
Yeah, you can do a Switch 9. We're going to up that credit limit. If only that's the way it worked.
Dude, that would be sick.
I'd be so in debt. Yeah.
You'd be balling if that was the way the world works.
Yeah. be ball.
That'd be sick.
Switch 9 will up the credit.
That's
great.
stressful though. You have to pay to play. That's stressful.
But that's life. That's
Yeah,
how
of
life
course,
works.
of course.
That's how it is. And
Yeah.
you got to, you know, I had to grow up a little bit and realize that's how things worked. And
Yeah.
I needed to get a little bit more respect for the game, a little more maturity. And that took a few years.
Yep.
But so I branched off and made some like home videos with other friends. We started this group called The Coterie. Shout out Jacob Callahan. He was old school skier, filmer, boss. But yeah, we made a couple projects outside Level 1, and then I came back to working with Level 1 a couple years later.
Cool.
Yeah.
So before we talk about Rosenau, when did Atomic come into the fold? Because you skied for them for quite a bit, right?
I did, yeah. That was a couple years after Super Unknown. I was with Solomon during Super Unknown. They weren't paying me, of course. It was like a flow program. Afterwards, I got an RMU, Rocky Mountain Underground, out in Colorado for a short amount of time, too. That just like wasn't really working out. They were still like a newish company, and
What year was that?
oh man, I don't even know.
17?
2017 maybe.
So,
yeah.
so was Benny Mike's there?
yeah.
Benny Mike's,
Yeah. Yeah.
Benny Mike's good. He's a good dude. He
Yeah.
went-
Benny's
he-
a good dude.
Yeah, he went to school with one of our good buddies, Bo from Bo Schwab. Who's also probably listening from New York. So like we had hooked up with Benny through Bo, and then
Oh, cool.
then like weird industry stuff, like you're at a ski test or whatever, and like Benny Mike's is there out with RMU, and you're like, oh dude, what's up?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a POW ski from RMU that said #who's Benny Mike's on the base. You remember that ski? Yeah. I had one of those. But yeah, anyway, I had this opportunity came up with Atomic actually through Nikki Kiefer, who I grew up in the same area as and always looked up to. We became really good homies, and he was like, dude, we need you on Atomic. So yeah, he like helped that happen. But then I was with Atomic for years, and I was never really able to like climb the ladder with them. It's hard when you jump on with a company at like a certain rung of this ladder,
Yeah.
especially if it's low down, because then every year you have to negotiate with them why you're worth moving up a level, you know?
Right.
And if you're not good at that negotiation, like you're going to stay on the same rung, even if you're worth a higher level.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I was with Atomic for a while, but then as time went on, I think my value was growing, and I wasn't good at negotiating the situation to move up levels with Atomic. And Rosignol saw my worth, I think, and kind of stepped in and was like, hey, we want to back you and help you out.
Nice.
And it was an easy decision.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And that was recently, right?
Yeah, last fall. So I've been with him just for about a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just one season I've been with him so far, but things are looking good.
Yeah, dude.
It's been
I
great.
like it.
Yeah, I'm feeling like I'll be with him for the long haul. I feel like they really have my
There's-
back.
Well, and you're Utah guy, right?
Yep.
And they're right in your backyard.
Yeah, their North America headquarters is in Park City. So I'm up there all the time. So I've been meeting everyone at the company there and becoming friends throughout the last year. And just in France, I was at their world headquarters in Grenoble, France. Got to meet everyone there
Sick.
at the
That's
France
awesome.
sector. Yeah, it was awesome. Got to hand make a pair of skis
Nice.
I've never done before. Had my name on them.
Pretty
even.
cool,
It was
right?
crazy. Yeah.
Press them and everything. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty
it
rad.
was awesome. It was cool to see the whole process. It really makes you respect it.
What kind of skis did you make?
They're the 110s.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that sender free 110. Yeah.
What's that new graphic that's been like pink one? Can you talk about it?
Oh yeah, dude.
Is that
Yeah.
is that
That's
like
sick.
is that like an
Yeah,
athlete?
it's cool, right?
Is that an athlete ski or is that something that
It's kind of exclusive. I'm not sure if they're selling them on their website. They might be,
They're not.
or maybe they just haven't.
Joey
They're
Love?
not.
Yeah.
Try to get some.
I think you could probably get some as a shop.
Hashtag who's Joe Riccio?
Yeah.
Yeah, hit them up because I think you could probably get some as a shop. I think they've mainly been using them for giveaways and things like that.
Yeah,
More
gotcha.
like
and
exclusive
that's
deals.
a 110?
No, that ski is not a 110. I want him to put that graphic on a 110. Right now it's on the 98.
Okay.
That's what it's on. Yes, it's more of like a park pipe ski.
Got it.
Yeah, which is a cool ski.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So every year we do our Utah lap, our Ski Monster Utah lap, where we kind of hit all the manufacturers out of Utah because everyone's kind of there.
Oh, really? Cool.
It's a really productive week. But so we've been to the North American headquarters, a handful of times, and they have a pretty good setup there.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's pretty rad, and like
All three of you guys have been there.
I haven't. No.
I have.
Joe has.
I have.
Usually AP joins us
invite.
on our free skier lap,
Yeah.
and Joe joins us on our Utah lap.
Nice.
To kind of
Cool.
like spread it out,
Yeah. Yeah, the office there in Park City is pretty sweet.
dope.
It's a cool spot.
Yeah, and then
you
how,
should
like-
see the spot in France. It's great.
Yeah, I haven't been there.
It's crazy. It's like
in-
a spaceship building. It's so cool.
Word. Okay. Because Solomon's in Annecy, right? And then you said that's in Grenoble.
Yeah, Solomon's in Annecy. Yeah, it's in Grenoble. It's
Gotcha.
close.
We haven't been to Solomon yet either. We've been to Mittersill, so it's like Tech
Oh, yeah.
Tech
Blizz.
Nordica.
Mhm.
So I'm sorry, Blizzard Nordica Ski Factory.
Yeah.
And then we've been to their kind of headquarters in Italy, and then Slovenia for Elan, which was awesome.
Oh, they're
So
in
was-
Slovenia, huh?
yeah, and then we we went to Atomic this summer. So Rosenal and Solomon we haven't seen.
Oh, cool.
Which
Well,
is
hopefully you make the trip out there.
yeah, eventually.
Sometime.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
we'll see you out there, bro.
Well,
That'd be
we
great,
went
yeah.
from not going to the ski factory I've been working in the ski business since I was like 19 years old,
Yeah.
20 years old.
Yeah.
I'm 38 now. I went from going from 20 years old to 37 in 0 ski factories, and 37 to 38 to 3.
So you're on a good
So
track.
it's on a good track. The
Yeah,
last
you're
year
on
and
a
a
good
half,
track.
I'm like, man, it's gonna keep these factories going.
You got
This is
about
sick.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're gonna do it, definitely go to High Five Festival because you can hit two birds with one stone
Yeah.
there. Go out to that in Annecy and go tour the Rossi factory afterwards.
That's
I
actually
think
a
that's
good
an
idea.
easy time of year for them to work out tours also.
Interesting.
So yeah. Plus High Five is great. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so good to be out there. So many vendors. It's a huge vendor event.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's actually a good point.
It-
That
and-
would be kind of like a good 3 birds with one.
yeah, if you reach out to High Five, I'm sure you could do a ski monster thing there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
Have a tent set up or whatever. There's tons of
I
space.
mean, we could.
That's for
I'm
sure.
not afraid of that.
Seems like they're ready to have whoever there. They want everyone there who's in the ski industry. That's what it feels like. It's a cool event. Put it on the list.
Hell yeah, dude. Put it on the list. All right, let's get back on track here.
Top of the list.
So, ski movie wise, last year we have to kind of talk about it because the segment was sick, and I'm sure.
Thanks.
I'm sure you know that, but like the ending segment of Delete is obviously awesome. I remember watching
Fire.
it in December.
Fire.
I think it was December, right? And like someone, you're on YouTube and you see people sharing or whatever. And
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is fucking sweet. And then we're slammed in December, and so like I'm not even like you're just watching it and you're like, oh, that was really dope. And then you're like, it's in and out,
Yeah.
And then when Berkowitz was like, oh, we're gonna have Jonah Williams on the pod, I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure he closed it out.
Yeah.
And then I obviously type it in like, yeah, he did. So I rewatched it again yesterday. I was like, dude, I forgot how fucking sick it was.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So I mean,
Thanks, man.
that was awesome, dude.
Appreciate that.
That was really rad. So like that whole experience. I mean, and you obviously talk. I'm interested to hear your point of view of it. Like, did that really kind of like segue into like, hey, I want to do my own project like with the same group or the person that filmed it, or how did that kind of all work? Because it seemed like the crew that was on that watching the movie, anyways, like it was like pretty awesome, like pretty all time.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a great crew for Strictly, for sure.
Yeah.
We just kind of decided to not do a Strictly movie. That's the main reason.
Okay.
If we were doing another Strictly movie, I'm sure that's what I would have done. I would have just focused on that this season. But since we weren't doing a Strictly movie, it kind of worked out perfect timing where Connor Smith at Level 1 was like, hey, we're looking for someone to like fill a spot and do a solo project if you're interested. So I reached out to my homie Gavin Rudy, who's filmed with Strictly for years, and was like, dude, let's do a solo project. And so that's kind of how it worked out.
Interesting. Yeah, because that was kind of what I was thinking. Because I'm like, well, if you looked at this movie and you watched it, I watched it again, and you're like, I didn't know this. I just assumed. I'm like, if these guys wanted to do another movie, I'm like, I can't see any of these guys being like, oh, we're just gonna do my own solo project this year.
Yeah.
Because like the movie was so good.
Yeah, we would have done another one
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, it was so good. And you're like, why would they just not do another one? But that makes tons of sense.
It's just hard. It's a lot of planning when you're doing it yourself. And Andrew Mildenberger, who was like he's done most of the planning and producing for the Strictly movies. I mean, it's a ton of work, and it's basically all just been on his shoulders. All the sponsorship deals, the communication, the trip planning, the organizing, all the different homies, getting them together in one spot.
Yeah.
You know, making the trailer, setting up premieres. He was doing all of that pretty much on his own. I mean, he'd have our help in small ways, but that's so much work for somebody. And then to really come out on the other end with pretty much no money, because the reason he didn't have any money at the end of the year is because he was paying for all of our travel to make those Strictly movies.
Wow.
So our sponsors were coming together, you know, to help us pool money to make the movie. But Andrew was just giving all of us access to that budget as far as our travel went, so that we were all really in it together, you know. And at the end, we would basically like sell some tickets to our premiere in Boulder, and that would break us even. And we'd give whatever extra to Andrew. It'd be like maybe $1,000, maybe.
Thanks,
Thanks,
man.
bro.
Yeah, they'd be like,
Buy him a
let's
beer.
do it again
He's like,
this
"You need
year.
like 35,000 more.
And I mean, it's that much work, a whole season of work, traveling around to film street, to film backcountry, taking up all your time. Like in a normal film job, that would be like $100,000 project paid on top of your expenses.
I don't know
And-
much about ski movie making by any means. I just watched a bunch of them. Like, but watching that, like it looks like a full on like featured ski movie. It doesn't
Yeah.
look like you guys are like cutting corners.
No. It's the whole deal.
Yeah, it looks like a legit. You're like, wow, like this is like a full blown, and that's why I was kind of bummed. Well, obviously, I didn't really think about it until we were going to talk to you. I was
Yeah.
like, hey, why don't these guys make another movie? Yeah.
Well, we were a little bummed about it too. If we were making a bunch of money at the end of it, even if we could just get Andrew to make a bunch of money at the end of it, we would probably keep making them.
Yeah.
But it's like, as a talented filmmaker, you see all these opportunities as you get older out in the real world, where you can go work a commercial job for a month and you can make 3 times as much in that month than you would make an entire season filming a ski movie.
Right.
And then you can just go ski for fun all season. So you start weighing that, and makes a little more sense sometimes to not do the ski movie.
100%.
Yeah.
From a fan's perspective,
Which
though,
is
it's
too
kind of a
bad.
bummer.
It's like,
Yeah.
it's too bad. And how do you change that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Age-old question, I think.
Most Gutter was awesome. I
Yeah,
probably
Most
watched,
Gutter's legendary.
holy crap. Dude, I watched that shit probably, I don't know, 30, 40 times.
Yeah, sick.
No, I'm not even joking.
That's not
Yeah,
exaggerated.
Yeah.
it's a great movie.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And then, I mean, same with Delete. Most Gutter was just like, for me, the first film that Strictly put out that I got hooked on, you know?
That's so sick, man. Shout out Most Gutter.
Yeah, those guys were, I mean, all you guys are just so fun to watch.
Thanks,
so
man.
when the file like deletes the last one, it kind of sucks.
Dude, it's a bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Don't
a
say
huge
last
bummer.
one. You
Yeah,
never know.
You never call
It could
last
happen
film,
That's
again.
what
dude.
we were just talking about, right? Like,
No, you never call
Let's
last
pay-
films.
Never call no.
Andrew needs to get paid.
We need to get Andrew paid. We need to get Andrew paid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's dope.
Might be doing another thing with Andrew this year. Maybe. We don't know. It's in the works.
Sick.
We're talking about something. Can't say what it is yet, but got
Cool.
something working out.
So
I'm excited.
I peeped your social, mostly because Garrett was like, "Yo, peep Jonah's social." So I was like, "All right, cool, peep Jonah's social."
Yo,
And
check
so I
me
did,
on
and so
social.
and like in preparation, I was like, "Well, obviously, got to ask about his solo project. That's why he's here."
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like you guys were like, you were in Japan for a extended amount of time.
Oh yeah.
So how long were you there? Was it your first time there? I personally never skied in Japan. It's been like I want to go, but just from like a travel standpoint, logistically, like having the job that I have, working in the ski business, being away from Ski Monster for that amount of time during the winter has been like almost impossible for me to like commit to that much time.
Yeah.
So like,
Makes sense.
what was it like?
Oh man, Japan is great. It's awesome. That's maybe, I think, my 5th time there.
Okay.
I've been there a few times. Gavin has always wanted to go there. Gavin Rudy, he's never been. So I was like, dude, we should go film in Japan. We're doing this solo project. Also seemed like an easier way to go out there and shoot just like the two of us without having to worry about all the obstacles that you might have to worry about in the States. Like in the States, if you want to film in the backcountry, you kind of need a snowmobile if you want to get away from the crowded areas. Gavin doesn't have a sled, for one, and for two, you need to go out with a crew that's bigger than 2 people typically. In Japan, it's a little easier to make it happen in side country zones with 2 homies.
Okay.
So that's one of the reasons we wanted to go. Second reason, of course, is the snow is incredible. Terrain's epic. Culture there is really rich and super fulfilling to be around.
Yeah.
So yeah, we went out there for 5 weeks. We went out there right after Christmas, so we were there on December 26th. We stayed in Tokyo for a week. So between Christmas and New Year's, through New Year's, just in Tokyo, just exploring, getting some really cool artistic B-roll shots, which you'll see in the movie, Who is Sim.
Okay.
And yeah, then we were there 2 weeks on the North Island, 2 weeks on the main island, just skiing and filming. It was awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, that's a long time to be there.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
It sounds like a long time, and then once you're there, I think you need like a good week in a place to kind of get to know the region, and then you need a week to start putting in some effort. And then really, I think 3 weeks is like an ideal amount of time in a place. And so 2 weeks almost felt too short because we
Sure.
did 2 weeks on the North Island, 2 weeks on the main. I think both of us might have preferred just to go to one spot for a month because you can get a lot more done. Because
You can map it out and you
Yeah.
can like hit every zone.
Yeah.
You're gonna like not leave any stone unturned. You're like, dude, we actually hit everything we wanted to hit here. Versus like thinking about shit, like maybe we could have stayed there a little bit longer.
Yeah, it's like right when you're leaving a spot, if it's only been 2 weeks, you kind of really get to know the area right when you're moving on. And so that just makes it hard. But that's what's cool about it too, because you gotta work with what you get.
Yeah.
And if luck is on your side, that's great. If not, oh well, that's what you can do.
So your previous, so when you knew you were gonna do a solo project, your previous experiences in Japan, and then knowing that Gavin had never been there, that was kind of like what inspired you guys. Like, okay, F it, that's where we're gonna go.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we both love exploring new places anyway, and we kind of both of us are the type of guys that take life pretty slow. We're not like rushing from one thing to the next generally. And so it was cool to bring him to a place like Japan, a place I knew he'd appreciate because we're really similar as people.
Yeah.
So for us to kind of just lay low for a week before the season started and just cruise around the city and enjoy meeting people and seeing the sights, and it was just awesome. It's so cool. And it's just a laid back culture there. Even in Tokyo, it feels that way, which is strange.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've never been there again, but like isn't Tokyo it's the biggest city in the world, right? Isn't it the biggest city in the world?
I think technically Hong Kong might be,
Okay.
but yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe the Tokyo metro area is larger.
Tokyo Metro is like got to
Yeah.
be like one of the, all right, if not one of the biggest, but like everyone that,
Yeah,
that
it's
goes
huge,
there
for
and
sure.
says like, for a city that's as big as it is, like you don't really feel like it's like this hustle and bustle of like a crowded American city or a crowded Chinese city. Like
Yeah.
they're like, it's like everyone seems to be like nice,
Yeah.
calm,
Yeah.
and like moving at their own pace.
It is like that.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure really why. Maybe it's like cultural differences
Yeah.
at the root of it, but like the values that they have that they're raised with there, maybe that's what makes the difference. I don't know. But overall, the organization there is pretty incredible. Everything's organized. Everything's clean.
Yeah.
Everyone's on their own program. No one's getting in each other's way. Everything just works. It's like a huge math problem that
It's
just
just
is
a
always
big
working.
like clock that's just like going.
Sounds
Yeah.
just like Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, dude.
Yeah, it's cool. It's so cool. If you haven't been, it's worth a trip even
I'm gonna
just to
go.
go to Tokyo.
I'm gonna go.
How was spending New Year's there? Was it sweet?
It was amazing.
I'm
Yeah,
sure.
that was so cool. That was great. Gavin and I we'd grab our backpacks in the morning with like some water and some snacks. And we've got like film cameras and stuff in our bags. We both got like headphones in. We're cruising around together, but we're like wearing headphones and listening to music and just vibing, like taking the subway to different popular areas of the city for days. I mean, my
Yeah.
phone, I think I was averaging like 29,000 steps a day.
Jesus.
Holy cow.
Just like 10 miles or something.
Jesus.
Yeah, we were walking a lot.
Wow.
It was pretty cool.
That is
we were,
cool.
We were all
Yeah.
sore from walking, but yeah, New Year's was crazy. Tokyo
Right.
goes off.
Did they
on
turn
New
up?
Year's. Oh yeah.
Sweet.
Oh yeah. We didn't sleep that night. No way. And we weren't even partying hard. We
Yeah.
were just like roaming around, enjoying seeing everything that was going on.
Yeah. Sick.
Yeah, it was amazing.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
So in this new movie, is it just skiing in Japan, or did you guys diversify a little bit?
We diversified. Yeah, we were afterwards, Gavin planned to go to Austria, and I was going to go with him. We were going to film the second half of our project around Austria, based in Innsbruck. But the season wasn't very good there as far as snow goes, and it started to get super good here in the States. And so I changed plans and flew back to the States and filmed in Idaho for a month because it was snowing a bunch. And then, and that was with Sean Logan, another filmer, who you guys know of, I'm sure. And then, so yeah, Idaho for like a month. And then in the spring, Gavin came back to the States and we linked up in California, north of Mammoth, and filmed in the Eastern Sierras.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty diverse movie then. Because I
Yeah.
haven't seen it. I've just seen the trailer.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like getting around.
Yeah, we got a bunch of shots in it. And we
That's
arranged them kind of differently than you usually would. Usually you'd start your project with chronologically where you'd started during the
Right.
season, which would be Japan, but we kind of switched it up.
Yeah.
So it kind of starts with the spring stuff, then goes into midwinter, then ends with where we started.
Nice.
Yeah. But
So
it flows really nice.
I like
It's cool.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It is cool.
Me too.
Now, did
Yeah.
Gavin approach you? Once you guys realized that a bigger movie wasn't happening, or did you approach him, or was it kind of like, hey, a mutual type of thing?
I approached Gavin because I wanted to. Gavin actually didn't work with us that much on Delete. He did a lot of the editing, but he didn't film with us that much during Delete. It was mainly Andrew Mildenberger. And so I knew Gavin had taken a little more of a break the winter prior, and so I thought maybe he'd be willing to step back into another project. So yeah, I hit Gavin up, and he already had something lined up with Nico Porteous from New Zealand.
Okay.
And he just committed to doing both projects. So he did mine and Nico's.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So Nico and I collabed on one trip in California, but otherwise, when Gavin was in Europe, he was filming with Nico, and in Japan he was filming with me, and then in Idaho I was filming kind of on my own with Sean Logan and Chris Logan.
Good for him.
Sick.
Yeah. So it worked out cool. So he did 2 projects, and they're both awesome. And doing 2 projects in the same season, but still having them be so different stylistically, that's pretty cool. Hard to do.
Very hard to do.
Yeah.
I mean, and so I guess the next question would be now that you've kind of done both things, right? Like you've done level 1 strictly, you've done a bigger production kind of a situation with a bunch of people, and you've done your solo with it's kind of you had more. It sounds like more creative freedom. Do you prefer one or the other? Are they just different to you?
Yeah.
How do you feel?
That's a good question. It's definitely different. I mean, it's cool to have more creative freedom, but when you're producing a project, it's a lot more weight on your shoulders because you kind of have access to all the budgets, and it's up to you to make this project good. And you want the people who are going to be looking at it and the people who are supporting it to think it's a good project.
Right.
And if you're hard on yourself as a skier, which I think you kind of have to be to become a good skier, so I'm naturally hard on myself, and I want to step up my game every year. So I felt a lot of pressure on my shoulders to perform, and that kind of gets in your way a lot of the time. And I was feeling that a little bit this year.
There's a lot of other things that are going on.
Yeah, you're planning all the trips, the locations you're going to, you're taking the risks, being like, okay, I think it's going to be good here. We're going to book our Airbnbs and book our flights, and then you get there and maybe it's not good, and you just kind of have to deal with that, work with what you have, or move and go somewhere else.
Right.
So,
And then you have to ski.
yeah, and then you have to ski and
You got to
make
get
it all
the
happen.
shots. It's not like you do all that and then you're like,
Someone's
all
gotta
right,
ski it."
Andrew, go
Yeah.
ahead and do something sick. I'm going to,
Yeah, totally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so when you're in charge of, when you're dealing with all the logistics as well as performing as a
Right.
skier, it just adds a whole nother level. So it adds a little stress. I was ready for it, I think. So it was a really good learning experience. But yeah, in the future, I think what's so cool about making ski movies is working with a crew. And so I'd say that's the most special aspect of it, is working with a crew together to make a movie.
yeah. Especially if you guys are already pretty familiar, comfortable with each other, and you're kind of traveling together, and everyone's kind of broing down. You're like, this has got to be these are these moments that they don't ever get back. You're this is we're making something special. We're cooking up something special. That's got to feel pretty cool.
Totally. And even if you're not friends with each other before the trip,
Well, yeah,
it's an
it
amazing
starts.
way to
Right,
bond.
right.
You bond with someone so fast when you're in those environments because it can be, stressful or traumatic. You're seeing people at their best and at their worst.
Yeah.
And when you see that, you really get to know someone so quick.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
and then you get to ride the hype of someone else, maybe having a day. When it's just
Totally.
you know what I mean? You're like,
Yeah.
okay, I think, or whoever's filming you is like, dude, you crushed it. You're like, okay, cool. But then you're like,
It's over.
did I? Did I? I don't know.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, did I?
For
Okay.
sure.
Are you sure? But if you're with a crew, right? You see someone else go, and then you're like, shit, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
the kind of day we're having.
Yeah.
It's got a totally different kind of mindset.
Feed off
It
the
is.
energy.
Yeah, totally. When you're with the crew and say you've been throwing down every day, putting a lot of effort in, taking a lot of slams, you're going to be wicked sore and worn out one of these days. And it's nice to have a crew because you can just put on for one of your homies, help them build the jump, help them find the feature,
Right.
double them up on your snowmobile, and you're out there still, but you're sort of taking a day off from beating
you're
yourself
contributing.
up.
Yeah.
But if it's
But they need you to do what you're doing, which is awesome.
yeah, but if it's just 2 of you and you're doing a solo project, it's different because maybe you're super beat one day, but conditions are good. You can't just chill at your spot. You got to go out.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of just keeping your energy level low all the time instead of taking the time to relax and recuperate.
Right.
So that's hard too.
Super.
Because maybe you're not in the right mindset, but you're like, oh, I got to go ski and I got to ski good. And
or if that day just happens to have like awesome conditions and like, but you're kind of beat up and a little bit down, you're like, shit.
yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing to complain about though too.
Oh yeah, no, it's just dynamics,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
It changes how the whole thing comes together, you know.
Yeah, for
Sure,
sure.
it varies a lot, but like, say just the Japan part of the trip, like how long was a typical day of skiing?
Yeah, we were having pretty long days. It's cool in Japan because we were doing mostly side country stuff, so you
Yeah.
can ride a chairlift up from a resort, and then you're skinning or touring out from the top of the chairlift out into the side country, and then you're doing laps out there all day. So you can't even start until the chairlifts start running, which is like 8:30 or 9 o'clock, which is kind of late. Like if we're going on a sled trip, a sled day, we're starting a bit earlier, maybe ending the day a bit earlier because you need to give yourself a buffer window to get out of the backcountry
Right.
before the sun goes down. But when you're in the Japan side country and you can just ski back to your Airbnb at the end of the day because you're right there at the ski resort already, you can have a pretty long day. And then we're starting at 9 a.m. So riding the chair up at 9, touring out, you're not really getting to the top of your zone until maybe 10 at the earliest. And then you're starting your day and you're getting done at sunset. So around 5:30 or 6,
Oh,
you're like
wow.
heading back to
Pretty
the
long
spot.
day.
That's a lot.
You have just enough time pretty much to get dinner and try to go to sleep by 9:30 or 10
Yeah.
and you wake up and do it again. So
And-
it's
and
like
you
your whole day feels like a ski day every day. Yeah.
Oh.
Doesn't feel like any free time really.
And
But that's why you're there.
You can
so.
ski for the most part back, like in Japan. Like there's a way to usually get back to where you're staying.
Depends
or
on
is it like
depends on
hike
where you're
out
staying.
situation?
Depends on where you're staying. But yeah, on the main island, that's kind of how it is. Yeah, you can pretty much ski back to where you're staying, or at least ski back within a mile or two in either direction, and then take a bus
Got it.
or just
Okay.
walk along the road, which we do a lot of that
Are
too.
there anyone else out there, or is it just you guys?
Depends on the zone you're at.
Yeah.
Yep. Sometimes there's other crews out there, and you'll kind of be in different pockets in the similar zone. Sometimes you have it to yourself. Kind of depends on how far you venture out. Yep.
Is the terrain different in the North Island?
A little bit.
Hokkaido?
Yeah, it's a little bit different. Everything's a little bit more spread out on Hokkaido, on the North Island. You kind of need a rental car there, and you're driving around to these different backcountry zones. And on the main island, I think there's bigger mountains there, and they're a little bit more condensed. It's nice to have a rental car, but there's so many more ski areas there, so you can access the side country a little easier from a resort instead of having to drive somewhere rogue.
I know it's like Hakuba, right? He's one of the biggest ones in the main island or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a real popular area.
Sick.
Yeah, the terrain is slightly different though, but not so different. It's still relatively close.
Yeah.
For the tour here, or really wherever you guys are going for the video tour, movie tour, whatever you want to call it. How did you guys decide, or how does Level 1 decide the order of operations of showing of the movies? How does that go?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, we kind of mix it up based on what we think the crowd will be like.
Okay.
And they have some good info there because they've done a lot of these shows in the past in these same cities. So based on what they think the crowd will be like and how many tickets are sold, they'll mix up the movies depending on what they think and also how the crowds have been reacting to the movies at the previous events, you know,
Okay.
to try to kind of keep people engaged.
Yeah.
So maybe you'll start with a slower one and then the second one will be a banger and then you'll have another slower one and then not to say they're not all bangers,
Oh,
but
yeah,
they'll all
just-
have a
just
different
different energy
tempo,
levels. Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So you're kind of mixing up the tempos. Like if you have 2 or 3 mellow movies and like 4 high tempo movies, you're not going to stack all the 4 high tempos together.
Right.
So it just depends on the project really, and then past experiences with the crowds in those cities. Kind of mix them up a little, but they've generally remained in the same order so far.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've always been curious about that. Every time there's like a bunch of movies that play, I'm like,
yeah.
who's
straws?
picking?
Like, yeah.
But it's-
who's batting cleanup tonight?
Yeah.
You know?
It's fun to be with the crew and be talking about that going to the premiere. Like, how are you guys going to play it this time? And we'll kind of discuss maybe how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And then to see how the crowd reacts that night.
Yeah.
And you're looking at your buddy like, oh, we were wrong, or
Yeah.
we were
Like,
right.
Yo, you
yeah.
nailed it. That's sick.
Yeah, it's
That's
pretty
super
fun.
cool.
It's super fun to be a part of it. Yeah. Great.
One thing that I want to ask, because I like asking, you know, professional athletes, your professional skiers, that like, did you always want to do the discipline? Like, did you always want to be a skier? Did you always want to do what you're doing now? I mean, because when we're kids, everyone's kind of doing different things, like, and you either kind of fell into it, or you're like, maybe I'm actually kind of good at this. Maybe I should keep going. Or is it always something that you're like, no, fuck it, I'm gonna be professional skier?
When I was a kid, like young, I grew up in this cool place where I was kind of just running around the woods with my friends.
Okay.
And I wanted to be Robin Hood. That's what I wanted to be.
Yeah.
And then as I got older,
Do you have a little John?
yeah, oh yeah, and then, yeah. No, that was my little brother.
Hell yeah.
His name's actually John, so it worked out perfectly.
He was small.
As I got older, I wanted to be a secret agent.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, be some sort of
CIA?
spy. I don't know. I didn't know any of the organizations at that point, but I read some books when I was a kid, so I wanted to do something like that. And then once I was like 12, 13, and I started reading ski magazines, me and my buddy would, for some reason, we even had like small allowances so we could buy the magazines, but just for fun, we would steal them from the local grocery store.
Yeah,
That's
what
free
they're there
skier
for.
mag.
Yeah. It says free on it, so
Yeah. We're like, what's the big deal? We're like the only two kids in the whole town taking the magazines. They probably know who it is, and they're just letting us go. So anyway, once I started like seeing those magazines and my friends started doing tricks on skis and we kind of figured out what twin tips were. From that point on, I wanted to be a professional skier. Yeah, it was kind of like it clicked, and I was like, this is what I want to do for sure.
Nice.
Yeah. So the pursuit started probably at 13, where I was like, this is what I want to do. And then all my friends, you know, you're all pushing each other. You're growing up. Maybe you have a local rail jam that comes to town. And then the competitiveness between your homies really grows.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the first time where I started to see like, okay, like this is really cool. Because I was pretty competitive. I played other sports like soccer and baseball a little bit when I was younger. And so being able to have that competitive spirit in a sport I loved as much as skiing just like hooked me.
Yeah.
I was in. Yeah. And then once
Especially
I got
as a competitive, the competitive spirit as a solo contributor versus the competitive spirit as a team,
Right.
like
totally.
it's kind of different once you
it
make
is
the
different.
switch.
Yeah, it's different. It feels like more
You
competitive.
have the team mindset of like, hey, like, but it's just you.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
And you're against your homies who you're already competitive with in a friendly way
Right.
on the hill. You
Yeah.
know, you're pushing each other to like learn your first backflips or your first K-Fed. So once I think I had won my first rail jam, which maybe I was 13, that's when I was like, oh, and I got a free pair of skis or something from it.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'm just going to keep doing
Yeah,
this.
this is it.
Yeah, this is what I want
This
to do.
is it.
Yeah.
Sick.
So yeah, stuck with it since then.
Awesome.
And it's been, you know, it's a roller coaster. You have
Yeah.
like other opportunities that come up or you're not making money in skiing. It's definitely a pursuit that's not easy to chase it.
Yeah.
You got to really stick with it. Perseverance pays off in the end though. And that's what I've been sticking to.
Yeah. Like everything else.
You gotta love it.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else.
You gotta love it.
Yo, yeah, you got to be
Yeah.
in it for the love too,
Yeah.
for sure. You can't like switch down the road, start it because you love it and then change your view on it and be doing it for some other reason and expect it to still work the same.
Yeah.
Right.
You'll get burnt out that way quick.
It's very true.
All of a sudden you're like, yeah, maybe I want to make a lot of money doing this. But maybe I'm thinking wrong. Maybe you can make a lot of money doing it. I haven't figured out the way yet. I'm doing
gotta
it
keep
for the
grinding,
love
dude.
still.
like Robin Hood, dude.
Yeah, like Robin Hood.
He wasn't in it for the money
Like Robin.
Until he was.
until he was. And,
Until he met Lady Miriam. It's like, yo, I gotta get some cheddar, dude.
Maybe I could
She's
still
not
make.
gonna go for this whole tree house situation.
Yeah, but he gave back, didn't he?
I don't
The whole
know.
thing?
Kevin Costner had a pretty ballin' situation
He did have a
going
pretty
on
good
though,
setup.
there in the
Yeah.
trees.
He
Yeah.
had a good setup.
yep.
I watched
know.
that recently. That dude, Prince of Thieves, fucking banging movie.
You ever
Amazing.
seen Men in Tights?
Of course.
Yeah, I've seen Men in Tights. Oh yeah.
Of course, dude.
Yeah, I was a
Watched
huge
that movie
Robin.
way too many times. I probably learned way too many things at such a young age because of that movie.
Sure, you did.
You didn't realize until later on, you're like, oh, that's why I'm so.
Yeah.
You can't blame it all on Men in Tights, though.
No, but a lot of it. Okay, so tonight in Boston, you have a premiere, and then it's to Burlington, and then what's after Burlington? What's the schedule?
Burlington is the final stop.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
we're playing the movie at IF3 in Whistler. I'm not sure if I'm going to be there for that or not yet, but that's kind of under its own thing.
Okay.
Whole IF3 thing. Yep, Burlington is our final level 1 tour stop. That's tomorrow, and then I'm going to go home and rest for a little bit because I've been on the
Dude,
road.
you've been on the road,
for 3
man.
weeks like
That's
crazy.
crazy.
I'm sure Ducky misses you, bro.
She does.
Yeah.
For sure she does. Yeah. So I'm going home to get duck. And then I get a few days to chill. And I'm actually driving to LA to meet a friend and we're doing a big bike packing trip.
Sweet. Sick.
Yeah. So
Nice.
got to keep the fitness up.
Keep it up.
Yeah, man.
Boston, Burlington, Whistler, potentially. Chill. I like it.
Yeah.
I like
LA.
it. Boys, you got anything else for Jonah while he's here before he heads to Somerville?
What was your first pair of twin tips that you skied on?
They were the Line Invaders, the Nacho
Yeah,
Libre
bro.
ones.
I had those too.
Did you?
Pink, yellow,
Yeah,
pink,
yeah,
and
you
blue.
know the ones?
Hell
Of course
yeah,
you
bro.
had those.
Yeah.
I had
Of course
those.
you had
Yeah,
those.
those are
Yeah.
my first ones, and I was
Yeah.
so hyped. My
Those are
dad and my
sick.
grandpa pooled their money and bought them for me for one of my birthdays. I think my 13th birthday,
Sick.
That's awesome.
probably. Yeah,
Yeah, those things were one of the sickest skis, dude.
they were so.
I should actually still have them in my parents'
Do you?
garage.
Do you really?
Do you remember
Yeah.
what size they
That's
were?
cool.
Oh, dude, they're small, right? Maybe like
160.
I remember-
63.
I remember mine were 161s.
Maybe
That's
mine were
probably it.
161
Yours
too.
probably were.
Yeah. I just wasn't as good as you, so.
Dude, I wasn't good then either, man. That's for sure. But I was learning. I learned it all in those skis. I skied those till they were way too small for me too.
Yeah, I did too.
I skied on those until I won my first rail jam and got
Yeah.
another pair of skis, which was the Solomon Threat. Remember those?
Dope.
That was my
Yeah.
next pair.
Did you win those from the rail jam?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yep. That's how it starts.
Yeah,
Free pair of skis.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's how I started. Same
Yeah.
thing. Working at a ski shop. Someone gives you a free pair of skis. You're like, I guess
I'm
I
in,
can
dude.
Keep doing
I can
this.
do this.
This is cool.
Keep handing me skis. I'll
Yeah,
stay here as
yeah.
long as
Keep
you
doing
want.
this. You
Yeah,
guys give
yeah.
out jackets here too.
God.
this Nike bomber isn't cutting it anymore. That was a Bob special. I got to get rid of this thing. Man.
It's crazy to think back on how nostalgic the twin tip skis were back then.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah,
No.
dude.
dude. Ski shop. I mean,
Man.
if you worked at a ski shop, you probably remember. But like, you had like a section of your wall that was like twin tips.
Yep.
You know,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
that was like where
Oh,
the
yeah.
twin tip. That's like where the bad boy zone was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so
Sure,
funny.
the bad boy zone.
You're like, oh, here's all the
yeah.
other skis, and like, oh, this is our twin tip section. The ski shops would have like a red like light on it or something like that. You know, there's like a boom box next to it. You're like, yeah, dude, that's where I'm gonna be.
So sick.
Oh, 100%. Oh yeah. It was the coolest thing in the
It was
whole
the cool.
world.
It was the cool
dude.
guy zone, dude.
Full tilt
The
boots.
coolest thing ever.
Hell yeah.
Awesome. All right, Jonah, dude, thank you very much for being here. This is awesome, and I'm stoked. I'm stoked that you're in Boston. You haven't really been here. Unfortunately, you can't really stay very long, but
Yeah, I wish I could. Next time.
next time. But going home, getting some rest sounds pretty good too.
Yeah, true. Well, thanks a bunch for having me, you guys. Appreciate
bro.
it.
Hell
Stoked
yeah.
to be here, checking out the shop in Boston. Cool to see that there's ski scenes alive and well here.
Hell yeah, dude.
Thriving.
Yeah.
Thriving,
Thriving.
bro. Thriving, bro.
Love it.
All right, peace, y'all.
Cheers.